swallowing fog. Heave on the creaking roads. 7 days since you've been gone. 7 days since you've been gone. Sleep like a rolling log, deep in a swollen fog. Heave on the creaking roads. 7 days since you've been upstream on a rolling boat, full steam in a leaking boat. As free as freedom goes. 7 days since you've been gone. Dream in a hissing hell. Disease in the wishing well. Teased by a laughing sun. 7 days since you've been gone. 7 days since you've been gone. Sleep like a rolling log, deep in a swollen fog. Heave on the creaking roads. 7 days since you've been upstream on a rolling boat, full steam in a leaking boat. As free as freedom goes. 7 days since you've been gone.
Hey friends, thanks for joining me on this second episode of this epic adventure. This video here is going to have some incredible audio. In light of what happened on that first night, where we put the recorder out at the base of that ridge, and you can see on the yellow trajectory of the trail, the red dot at the bottom is where we had the recorder the first night. Okay, so this second night, we are going to move the recorder closer to that area where we caught the thermal signature on the trail. So you can see on where the trail bends away from camp, that's where we had the thermal, where that red dot is, the middle red dot. So we actually kept going straight on the trail until we just broke over that ridge or into that draw. And that's where we sat the next night and left a recorder. And this time we left a camera, one of my hidden log cameras, watching the recorder. So now let's get into what happened that night. All right, Chris and I are on site. This is my Boblov camera. I don't even have no idea why they picked Boblov. So there's the, you can't even see the camera. The camera stump all decked out pointing towards the audio log right on top of that stump. So that's what, it's about dark 30, so we're going to sit here, chit chat, occasionally do a knock till we're just tired of it. We're just going to stay here until we're tired of it, and then we're going to leave and hope for the same reaction that we got the first time around, which was something came up and checked our shit out. Chris is going to be the only one who knows how to get here.
Boy, these cameras work really good.
They do.
So, folks, this is where I'm going to have to fill you in on all of the things that happen in between the actions that you see. On the way up here to this location, I forgot to bring, I had the camera log in my hand, but I forgot to bring the recorder log. It was sitting on the table, completely set up, ready to go. But I also had another recorder sitting on the table that was recording things that was happening around camp. So when we're up there on the trail getting ready to go into the woods and I realized I did not have the recorder log, I asked Chris if he could just go back down there to the campsite. I mean, we're not too far away from the campsite. And so he did. So he went down to the campsite, grabbed it off the table, and just immediately turned around, came back up the hill to where we are, so that we can continue what we were doing here. Unknown to us at this time, we may have had something in our campsite. And I will let you hear the audio of what's going on at the campsite, while you can also hear Chris come back down there. And I think something leaves the campsite and then comes back into the campsite when he leaves the campsite and comes back up to where I'm at. So I know that's a lot of information, but you'll be able to hear the audio and hear what I heard. And the night will only get better. So you'll just have to wait and see. Coming back from our putting out the camera and the log recorder, and we sat up there for 2 hours being dumbasses.
It's not hard for us to do.
It's not hard. It's easy to do. But they hear what dumbasses we are. They're not afraid to send the kids around. They have said there's nothing to worry about. Yeah, just a couple of campers coming back to camp.
Mm-hmm. Went up and
Sure hope nothing's in our camp. So it might be time to leave if you're there.
we don't like surprises.
As I'm sure you don't either. So get the hell out of Dodge. Whoops. All right, before we get into the audio portion of this video, I need to lay out again what happened the night before. We had a recorder out just at the corner of the trail where the previous night we captured the heat signature that you guys have already seen. So that's why we picked that location. So while we were there, Chris came back to camp to grab the log recorder, and we believe the audio will reveal that there was something in our campsite unbeknownst to us. And Chris came back, got the recorder, went back up there, and something came back into camp. It's very reminiscent of me having the experiences with the juveniles, at the 400. So it seems like the very same scenario. And I may not have captured these things if I didn't have that previous experience to be aware of. So now remember, out at the 400, if you want to go back and check some of my videos, we had audio of these things in the camp there, going through stuff on the table. I mean, 30 seconds to a minute before we were heading back to camp, and you can hear us in the background coming back to camp. So they would stay in there to the last minute and then exit. So it's not unheard of, so I believe that's what was happening here. So we have the audio to hear about that, and then when we come back down to camp after spending 2 hours up there in the chairs, again, there was something in camp. And when we came to camp, we spent about an hour preparing ourselves, getting the bikes all set up, loading up, our cameras, and then we took off on the electric bikes. Unfortunately, Chris wrecked. He wrecked his bike, and I thought I lost my phone, but I actually left it in my tent and couldn't find it when we were out. So it was a bit of a panic when I didn't have my phone, and then on my way back, thinking that I lost the phone on the road. So I was trying to see if I could find my phone on the road on the way back. So I wasn't really watching for Chris behind me because I was kind of anxious trying to find my phone. So I'm zooming along looking, for my phone with my headlight, and I didn't even know Chris wrecked, but but he wrecked pretty bad, hurt his arm. Needless to say, I get up to camp without him because I didn't realize he wasn't behind me, and get my phone out of the kitchen area, and then he hobbles on up into camp after that. Well, so we had activity in our campsite, at that time when we were gone, and while we were there at camp, while he was nursing his wounds and we were back at camp there, I'll let you hear it, but I'm still going to explain it. You hear a tree fall, and it's just right behind my tent up in the woods, and I think I might have said a curse word, and I was like, "Holy crap!" And I was like, "Okay, we just need to get in the tent and I'll let my thermal do the work." So we ended up getting in the tent, and we were getting pummeled with rocks. We were another branch was being broken and wrenched off of a tree while we were in our tent, and I even might have said another curse word while I was in the tent laying there because I was dumbfounded, given all the activity that was happening. I did not know at the time that we had had visitors in our campsite prior to us coming back. So there's all this going on that you don't know until the next day or two when you actually hear all the audio. But it was very exciting, especially the tree breaks. I mean, the tree, it sounded like a whole tree broke and fell. And then after we got in the tent, there were other branches being broken. So that pattern alone tells me that maybe the tree falling wasn't an accident, because we also had things being thrown. We also had additional branches breaking and wrenching off the trees. So you had to put all that together. So I don't know. You just have to listen to it, but we'll get to it. Things out. Everything has stayed dry. But interesting thing to note that I don't know how significant this is, but given what we have heard on the audio, you guys have not heard that yet as I'm saying this, but Chris and I have. There was a lot of activity over the last couple of nights on around our camp and our tables, just little plasticky sounds. We can't tell really what the sounds are, but we really feel like something was in our camp. Well, so today I'm taking off tarps and getting ready to clean things up, and here's some batteries. And you know me and my OCD. I cleaned out one of my parabolic mics and a recorder, and the mics, and there were 3 batteries, 3 AA batteries, AAA batteries. These are all used up, ready to go into the trash. So we're missing a battery off this table. We looked around, we dug around, looking around the table. Is there any way possible it could have rolled off? The way this is set, the way those batteries were in the middle of everything, and the slope of the table, if it rolled off, it should be over here. And if it got knocked off by a tarp, then other things should be knocked off. It can't reach into the middle of a bunch of bottles and take one battery. Anyways, it just gives us something to keep our eye out. If we're out and about somewhere and happen to see one of these AAA batteries, then we can connect some dots.
Alright, we can do this. 10 o'clock. Heading out on foot. As soon as you hear our voices leave the area, please pick up any action. Pick up any action on the recorders. Action, I'd be much obliged.
that was on the table at the campsite. It's got all my toothpaste and toothbrushes in it. That might have been the zipper sound. Okay, folks, shortly into this trip, I realize I do not have my phone. I panic a little bit thinking I lost it out of my pocket on the road somewhere, so I turn around and start going back, retracing my steps trying to find my phone. I'm going at a pretty good clip, don't realize that Chris isn't behind me, and I did not know, but he ended up wrecking. I actually went past the road to turn up into our campsite, so I'm really a little bit lost. Don't have my phone, can't look at Google Earth, so I come back and thinking that Chris must have already turned up into our campsite, so I go up that long road to our campsite, and when I get there, he's not there. I did not know that he ended up wrecking. He wrecked pretty bad. So I'm at camp. I find my phone in my tent, and he comes limping in there with a wrecked bike where he wrecked. So that's where we'll pick this up. Man,
What's up?
what a nightmare.
Yeah.
You get busted up?
Well, a little bit. Get everything all crooked, and I'll work on it tomorrow.
And it wouldn't have happened if I wouldn't have lost my phone, or wouldn't
No.
lost track of my phone. Well, I wouldn't have been going so fast and just anxious to try to find
Well,
my
I still would have
phone.
wiped out because I hit one of those parts of the road where on both sides it just fell right off. I tried to avoid a big rock and hit the brake, and it poof.
You didn't hurt any like your knees or anything, did you? Your
Just scraped my
elbow?
elbows.
Man,
No big.
fudge.
I'm good to go.
I finally saw a turn off and I stopped and I was like, what? This isn't our turn off? And I thought maybe it was the one before, but it was actually the one after. And so I was all discombobulated, and then I started hollering your name because I didn't see your lights, and I was like, I thought you were behind me, and I started hollering.
What happened? Did you go to the one we went to the East of the Cove or something?
Yeah. And so when I was hollering your name, and I was like, and then I came back to it, I was like, well, maybe he's already back up at camp because I thought you were behind me.
Yeah. I was behind you, probably about 75 feet, but yeah. I went to duck and dodge that rock, and when I went to dodge that rock, the canopy was wet, and it come over, and I went to duck. When I did, the back of it slid off in the ditches. Because the ditch, the side of the road just showed.
What were you going, about 20?
No, I want to go about 10, 12 miles an hour. All right.
Dude, man, just the idea of not having your phone, I can't look at the map, I can't see where I'm at. I thought I could look to see where my turn was. It's amazing how addicted we are to all the information in that phone, and to not even, I'd be lost without my phone.
Addicted and dependable on something like that, for sure. You're right.
I fell over coming in at the puddle, but I fell off into the brush.
That's the right side to fall.
Yeah. I was pretty panicked. I was like, man, if I come up here and my phone is not here, I'm just going to take the vehicle and just drive up and down the road till I can see it.
I was scanning the road, see if I could see your phone case.
Oh.
Ready for a trip up?
I was all turned around, missed my turn in the dark, no phone to look at the map. Turned around, Chris is not there. I'm hollering in the dark. I don't know what's going on. And I'm like, I gotta find that drive by sight. My headlight doesn't light up as much as I thought it would.
No, they don't.
I was for sure that this kicked out of my pocket while I was pedaling.
Bounce down the road somewhere.
Oh, what a nightmare that would be. Wouldn't be able to call my wife, no nothing. I don't even know her phone number. It's just in my phone. I don't know anybody's phone number if I didn't have their name.
It's not an iPhone, is it?
No.
Okay. You don't have to find the iPhone app.
No. Oh man. That was some bullshit. All right, ladies and gentlemen, things are going to get a little bit exciting here. I am going to play the audio. Chris and I just kind of get our stuff together and start getting things ready for bed. It's about 3 a.m. and we do not know that there had been anything going on in camp at all because we can't listen to the recordings until the next day. So we're just kind of getting ready for bed. And then we hear a tree fall, not too far from camp. And even hearing that, we did not know that it just wasn't a natural fall because, again, we hadn't heard any of the camp activity that you guys have already heard. So we just thought it could possibly just be a dead tree that fell. So we get into bed We get into our tent. We still talk for a while, and we get in our tents, and we're kind of chit-chatting in our tent, and we hear this.
Holy shit.
What because they came to camp while we were gone?
I don't know. I don't know, next couple of days when I get to listen to that audio. Could be a good night.
Could be. Because Randy and I are going to bed.
Is that you?
That wasn't me.
That's the second one I've heard. I'm going to zip up my windows because I'm going to be turning on my thermal.
Simple. Check it out. Right there. And this meanders right on down. You can hear that big creek down there.
Wow. Can you guys hear that? There is some water running down there. I want to go down there and look at it.
So do I, but coming back up be a bitch, boy. You can do it. You got your headlamp?
Nope.
I got mine.
I'm just going to worm my way down there a little bit. I mean, you don't...
No, I was kidding. I'll go with you. Yeah, that's right.
Going down's always easy. It's like I can hear the water right there.
But you can't see it, I know. Well, they're going to be good. They're all over this place.
Well, we are right on it. Boy, it is thick down here. Boy, if I ran across a footprint down here, I would. You can hear it, but you can't see it.
Thick through here, brother. Shit I used to read about when I was... Oh, you okay?
Yep.
This is shit I used to read about one area X, but talk about how thick it is, and I didn't believe it. I believe it now. That's some of the thickest shit I've seen.
Almost sounds like there's a waterfall over there.
It does.
Man. What if we saw water gushing out of the side of the hill like a spring?
Gotta be right there, I see it.
Watch out for these mossy rocks.
Slippery, slippery.
See any footprints?
No, not a stone or anything at all, no.
And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why the Bigfoots love it here. Are you taking a whiz?
A little bit.
We caught the man taking a whiz. I'll edit that out. A lot of briars. Man, I'd love to find a footprint. Okay, could that be a heel mark? It looks like it drops down and comes outward. Could that be a heel mark? I don't know. Could this be potential? I don't know. Could this be heel toes? I don't know. Doubt it. But it could be. It sure has the shape of a foot. That's about all I see here. I like it. As me and Chris were making our way up out of the creek, my battery was down to about 20%, so I shut it off. We get up here on the trail, and all of a sudden we hear a tree fall right back where we were at. Tell me that wasn't interesting. I'm mad at myself for not changing out my battery sooner. You don't want to miss anything. Somewhere over there. I like it. I just want you guys to know that we just made it back to the trail from that creek. We just heard a big chunk of a tree fall just from the area we came from.
Oh, I saw it. I was watching.
And I had already shut my recorder off, but that's because I'm about to run out of battery. right, Chris is getting his sexy pants on, and we are heading up to last night's area where we set up the log recorder and the log camera for the first time. So we're going to go up there, change everything out, move to a different location, sit for an hour, create a disturbance, and leave everything sitting there. And then we're going to come back to camp and go download the audio from that first log, which has been sitting up there all night. So we shall see, but we got to take off here, and we got to go through the process. And then around 9 or 10 o'clock, we'll be heading up on the ridge, hopefully, with the drone for the first time, getting some drone footage. Well, it looks like things are really going to pick up today. It's no chances of rain for the first time in a while. The sun was out when we got up, so I actually stretched a paracord out and am going to dry out my bedding for the last 3 nights. It just, everything tarped up, everything just a little bit wet, has not really had a good chance to dry out. So we are definitely going to be sleeping on sunshine tonight. Everything's going to get aired out. Able to open up the windows and take down the tarps. Life is good. Not disappointed in the activity already, so now just gotta sit down and contemplate our next plan of action. You want me to throw you some extra coffee in on this pot?
Oh, I'm good.
He's good, he says. Hey, Chris!
Yeah.
Come over here, I want to throw a plan at you.
See, I'm sure you did. Did you ever see? You remember the Rob Owens head?
Yeah.
That was pretty wild. What you got?
All right, so here about, I don't know, I'd say 3 or 4 o'clock, we should go up, gather the stuff, you know, the recorder and the camera log.
Yes, sir.
Listen to the recorder first.
Okay.
Because if we don't have any action, more than likely we won't have anything on the camera. So we'll listen to the recorder first. That way I don't have to disassemble the camera or anything. Of course, if we hear something, then we can get excited about possibly on the camera. But that'll be first. Because if not, I just want to turn it off, turn the camera off, and then turn it back on the next time we use it, and not have to, you know, change anything out, change batteries or anything like that. So, but here's my plan. Here's what I'm thinking. I'd like to reset that up. If nothing happens there, then I'd like to do the same thing back up to our original spot, where you set the camera and the log up, and then we come back. And I really want to leave camp and, you know, leave it. So what do you think about getting your vehicle up on that ridge? Do you think we can get past that stair step of rocks that we thought was pretty rough right after the mud hole, but once we got past that, it was just like a regular logging road?
Like rough?
Yeah.
See how muddy it is.
Yeah, it's that first mud hole, we get through that, and then it was just kind of a rocky 100 yards, but then once it got beyond that, it just turned into a regular logging road.
It's pretty slippery. If it's going to be wet, we can try it.
Yeah.
It's
Well, if we could just take the drone and spend a good hour and a half, 2 hours up along that ridge, stopping in different places, throwing up the drone in a vehicle, that would sure make life easier, and it would allow us to stay away from camp for an extended period of time.
We could ride down there and get there as far as we could and take a little walk up there.
Well, I want to be able to use the equipment up there, and that's the purpose of us doing it.
Yes,
so if it's something that we can't do, then we're going to have to figure something else out.
Yeah, we could take the truck down there. We go up that hill as far as we can. We can walk up the top of that hill, not too terribly far, and set that drone out. That sounds like a plan to me. Yeah,
Well-
get away from camp. for
Well,
sure.
if you can get past that,
Yeah.
I want to drive along that ridge. I want to drive.
Oh.
Once we get up there to where you and Garrett were, the road wasn't bad.
Yeah.
So if we can just get to that spot, then we can go for 2 or 3 miles and stop in multiple places and send up the drone. That's the kind of coverage I want to do. That's what I wanted to do with the electric bikes. But if we can get the truck up there, then we can just do it that way. And then we'd have the comfort of just sitting in your truck with the windows down, chit-chatting, and the kind of being in a track, and then get out and throw the drone up and see what's happening. It's a good plan, but it allows us to stay away from camp for a couple hours.
Yeah. I'll air down my tires
Yeah.
for more traction.
Yeah.
We can do that. That'll work.
We're gonna get it. We'll finally get some drone action. Okay, everyone, I'm just going to do a real quick walk. When I start putting this video together and we start talking about what's happening in camp after we leave and how soon something is coming into camp and just the general things that's going on, I want you to get an idea that we're on a dead-end road, and that's where we set our campsite up, right in the road, because it dead ends up there. And I just want you to take a look that something's coming in from this. It's quite hilly. Lots of draws and hollers and ridge lines. So, I mean, easy to just peek ahead over the tops of these things. This is a gradual slope going west up behind our campsite, and of course this is a gradual slope downhill away from our campsite. But I'm just going to give you an idea of it reminds me of the Pacific Northwest up there when I was camping by Riff Lake. Just ferns on the ground and constantly a wet feel, where they would get a little rain almost every day. So look at the thickness. And this is a pretty good drop off down here, and just keeps going. Down there is the road, quite a ways down there. And it's just all uphill. So, so far, what we can hear with our ears, when we had that tree crash and the branches breaking and some other things happening, it was coming in from the high side. Something was behind my tent, which would put it coming from the high area. So we're gonna now walk past camp so you can get a general idea of where we were hearing something at least that one night. But look how thick. I would say what we were hearing was up in here somewhere. And the trail cuts up there and just keeps going uphill. There's some mushrooms. But yeah, this is what I would call ideal. The ideal terrain with so much cover. And they've got the upper ground. Up there, it takes a jog to the right, and that's where we got that thermal image back in there. And that's what made me think, could something be coming into our camp already? So then we started leaving a recorder at camp, and sure enough, same scenario of the 2 juveniles that we've dealt with in the past, where they work in conjunction with each other, where one keeps its eye on us and knows that the campsite is free to explore. We were walking the other night coming up here, and I had forgot my recorder log. So once we rounded the bend up there, I was like, crud, I forgot the recorder. And thankfully, Chris volunteered to walk back to camp to get it. But we had just left. So, you know, maybe 10 minutes. So the recorder that I left at camp, I swear you can hear something there. And then you hear him at about this point, at this, you know, or a little bit further up, you could hear him coming down the hill because you can hear him on the recorder. And then you hear a noise in the camp that almost like something hitting the table. Right before he gets down here and he goes over to the table and gets the recorder that I'd already pre-made and was just sitting on the table, the recorder log, picks it up and leaves. And you could see all of that commotion on the recorder where he is there making all these noises, grabbing it, taking off walking. And then you can hear his footsteps walking away back up the hill. It was dark. And then a few minutes later, you hear something in camp. It's the most amazing thing. What in the world? And like I said, I had some dead batteries sitting on the table, and one of those batteries is gone. So I thought that was odd. So tonight I am going to. I've got my game cam logs. I'm gonna have to get my game cams all doctored up. I think the rain is all past us. You can see we're still all batting down for rain, and it's sprinkling a little bit right now. So it's still just kind of icky and moist. But yeah, get these game cams set up. Put them in some really good strategic places around the camp, and then just make ourselves vacant. Leave the camp multiple times. Go take the bike down that way. Take the bikes that way. Go back up the hill. Just give them plenty of opportunities to take advantage of us. And try to have some game cameras. Yeah, good plan. I want you to know that when I poured the coffee out of the coffee pot into my cup, there was some left over, and I had to go outside and actually pour the coffee on the ground. And I just want you to know it hurts me here and here to have to pour coffee out on the ground. It hurts me here. I'm sorry. Finally getting around to charging the battery for the bike. Got some breakfast going, and it's only 2 o'clock. Finally getting some breakfast at 2 o'clock. The magic elixir right there. All right, I'm in here in my kitchen tent. Got my laptop going. You can see that the first recorder I've got got a long way to go, so it's kind of a slow process, but this is a great setup. So let's go on over here to the Chris's side of the compound so you can see his setup. We're all batting down for the rain, and we got his setup done. Look at that. Look at him. Got his own kitchen. Got his own kitchen.
Got my kitchen. Got my YouTube going on over here. Doing a little
look at that. He's roughing it. He's roughing it, folks.
Gonna bring the big guys in the thunderstorm.
Yep. So. Yep. If that doesn't bring them in, I don't know what will. So, All we're doing now is biding our time till it starts raining, but we're anxious to hear what's on the audio. The only sound is that little generator running. Are you coming? I need you to help me identify if these are the boxes that you're that you hadn't moved. Yeah, this chair is for you.
Okay, I was just gonna sit on this cooler, but okay, let me close this, keep the birds out.
Yeah, we might as well just sit here and both try to identify things.
Yeah, you do that, and I will. I can watch YouTube on with my captions on. But yeah, I knew there was going to be so much stuff on here, Randy. I knew that was going to happen.
Okay, here, I'm gonna play this. You tell me what this sounds like. You ready?
Yep. It sounds like something was opened, like a, you know,
Like something on the table, like if something small got dropped.
oh, and yeah, and it,
Like a coin.
yeah, because my table's on level, you know, it could have rolled, it could have moved, because everything moves on that table. I think what was on that table had a lighter. Yeah. I haven't taken anything off that table.
Okay. Okay. See this little cluster right here?
Mm-hmm.
This sounds like some boxes. This might be your thing.
That could very easily be my boss. I'll go over there and get him.
Sounds like just
Okay.
boxes moving a little bit.
Yeah, could be. Because there's that real hard cardboard on that plastic table.
What'd that sound like?
Like a rock. Definitely there's some in here investigating. A little bit of everything. Moving a lot of things around.
Is that crickets?
Yeah. Damn. That was kind of aggressive.
This has got to be me and you coming back.
Yeah. Yep, that's us right there is our voice.
Okay, so what's going to happen here is we're going to spend a bunch of time at camp, and then we're going to leave on the bikes, and then when we come back, that's when we get the trees crashing and stuff. So we're going to have to get well past this to get to the crashy part. But
Did you already listen to it?
no, no, I'm intrigued.
So am I.
Just the way, how close we were to having stuff happen, and not happen when we're here, but it's happening when we're away. interesting, weird little things that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. The zipper possibility sounds. You thought a box had been moved. We hear what could be boxes moved. We hear what lots of things could be looked at and examined.
We hear what sound like rock pebbles coming into camp, or we're hearing things that are getting moved around. Something dropped on the table, possibly.
Just weird. That zipper's a little wild.
It is.
With all of the other sounds, it's almost like something's just kind of making its way around the campsite, checking things out, and maybe that's the first time it ever messed with the zipper or something. Or how would it know to do it slow?
How would it know? And yeah, how would it know it was down there unless it was really down there, really looking at it, and potentially, like you said, a coin or something being dropped on a table. My table was unlevel. Things were complaining last night because things are rolling off of it, and maybe something.
All right, let's finally get into the audio that we left up there with the log recorder and the log camera. The location is where the red dot is. The yellow line is the trail. Excuse me. The yellow line is the trail going up and away from camp, and the arrow is pointing back down towards base camp. So let's get into the audio. the game camera that we had in the log pointing towards the recording log was only triggered twice. Once when I picked the camera up, and this picture right here. It looks like a picture of nothing. But maybe there is something in there, I don't know. But it doesn't look like there's anything in there. But that's the only picture it took.
For the heat